nguo hapo hapo. Hata si kutoa nguo mwenyewe. Niko na jaribu kutoa hiyo kunguru yao. Mwingine hiyo kunguru, hiyo nguo yao inaitwa kunguru. Huko nyuma inafungwa na vitaki. Kama ile nguo ya mtoto ya kufinya so. Mwingine ananitoa manguo huko nyuma. Before even I defend myself, ishatolewa kila kitu. Wakaniambia, so nilitaka kuongea hivyo, kuna mama alinibeba juu, akaniangusha kwa kitanda. Puu! Kwa hiyo kitanda yao iko na hapo. Nikalala. Mwingine akaniambia, "Epo, panua miguu." They used to call me a different name in the cell. When they always come to call for register. Usiku kuna watu wa shift wa usiku wanakuja wanaita china register. Marion, somebody. So wanakuita venye umejitambulisha na ID yako. So mimi walikuwa wanaita na huyo mwingine ako wapi?
This case started around 2018, and the background or the genesis of this constitutional petition was the criminal case that AC was facing at that particular time. You know, when AC was arrested and charged with the offense of impersonation, the immediate concern was whether there are facilities, okay, in our prisons or our police cells to accommodate transgender persons at that particular time.
In the heart of Kenya, a woman's fight for justice is unfolding. Shiey Chepkosgei, a transgender woman, was born male, yet identifies and lives as a woman. Her journey from the prison cells of Eldoret to the courtroom has been one of courage, resilience, and deep pain.
This case absolutely relates to human rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights defines human rights as an inherent right that is inalienable and available for all human beings. So, by virtue of this, transgender persons, being human beings, they are deserving of human rights.
It all began on June 14th, 2019, when Shiey was arrested at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, charged with personation. Despite presenting herself as a woman, Shiey's gender identity was questioned, leading to her detention in the women's section of Eldoret Police Station.
I worked in MTRF for more than a month, only to come to realize ya kwamba kukuja nilishikwa MTRF wakisema nimeimpersonate someone else by the name Pamela Mulubi. And for real, before court, I did not impersonate Pamela Mulubi. My name tag, it was written Shiey Chepkosgei. Na job ID waliandika namba yangu ya ID. So impersonation ya Pamela Mulubi, I don't know venye ilitokea, lakini mimi nilifanya pale as a caregiver, and even nilifanywa kitu inaitwa orientation. Yeah. So sikuelewa ilitokea wapi, wakasema nimeimpersonate. So nikashikwa pale, nilishikwa actually saa 10 usiku asubuhi. Nikapelekwa kwa MTRF, kuna police station pale. Nikapelekwa police station, wakaniuliza wewe ni nani? Nikasema ulipataje kazi? Nikajieleza pia venye nilipata kazi mpaka nikafanywa hiyo orientation. So like kila mtu alishangaa, mpaka maaskari wakashangaa. So kidogo kidogo watu wa DCI wakafika sasa. Watu wa DCI wakafika, wakanishika, wakaniweka pingu. Yeah, nikapelekwa Central Police Station that morning. Kufika Central, wakaniuliza maswali, wakaniinterrogate. I just said the reality.
But things took a darker turn. A strip search dehumanized her even more, and authorities, unsure of how to classify Shiey, subjected her to a series of invasive medical exams, tests done without her consent. These were ordered not to affirm her gender, but to confirm her biological sex.
if that is how the prison is supposed to be conducted, I think something needs to be done in Kenya. Because it was so traumatic and it was like, that was, yani ni kitu sitamani hata mtu mwingine apitie kwa maisha yake walai. Hata kama mtu anafanya makosa apelekwe prison, asifanyiwe kitu kama hiyo.
As Shiey's body was examined, her dignity was shattered. Reports of her medical information leaked to the media, adding to the trauma of a woman already struggling with the scars of society's ignorance. Yet, the law remained silent. At that time, Kenya's legal framework had no provision for the treatment of transgender persons in detention. There were no guidelines on where Shiey should be held, male or female prison, leaving her vulnerable to harassment and abuse in both spaces.
SC's case on whether the actions of the Office of the Attorney General, of the ODPP, of the Kenya prisons, of MTRH were in violation and contradiction to that, the court is in agreement and the court answers in affirmative that indeed her rights were violated. So this case is at the very core all about human rights.
And these are things that we were already doing as a company, fighting for, right? We're fighting for these things to change, these violations to not happen, right? And of course, you can advocate and create awareness as much as you can. And sometimes it's just about administrative action and poor administrative action really that led to what happened to this case and how it got to where it got to.
Determined to fight for her rights, Shiey filed a constitutional petition. She sought not only recognition of her identity, but also the protection of her privacy, dignity, and freedom from cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment.
So litigation, of course, had to happen because we didn't understand why explanation of small simple things like access to dignity. You know? Yeah, her dignity was not respected. Her dignity was violated. And so when someone violates your dignity, then it's not a good thing, you know. So part of that is trying to address some of those things.
Her case challenges the very system that was supposed to protect her. It questions the intersection of gender identity and the law, and whether the state, institutions, and individuals have the right to impose their own definitions on who Shiey is.
The court made a positive determination that matter, that indeed there were violations, and I think there was a award of damages for that. Okay. However, there are issues which the court left out at that particular time, and in their judgment, they indicated that these are matters that require time for the society to deliberate on. Okay, and as a Kenyan society, the court believed we were not ready yet at that time to embrace these issues.
And I think even with this case, we've kind of just identified some of those things, and we've seen that discrimination is something that leads to all these things. It leads to poverty, it leads to poor health, it leads to all these other challenges that we as trans people face. It's important to really focus on how we can address the issue of discrimination and how we can address the issue of putting the right things in place, putting the right policies in place, putting the right measures in place, and putting and really ensuring that we hire the right people, especially within our government systems, because those are the people we go to seek services to.
On August 12, 2025, after years of legal battles, the High Court ruled in favor of Shiey. The court acknowledged the violation of her rights, granting her a 1 million shillings award for damages. More importantly, it called for urgent reforms, recognizing the legal limbo transgender individuals face in detention.
So first of all, it is videos such as this that break down what this judgment means, not only for transgender persons, but if the state is going to protect the minority, then that means that I can sit comfortably in my house and know that I am also protected. So that is one, breaking down these cases and explaining to the public so that they are able to understand and appreciate, as well as also connect. How does this affect me, who is not trans? Yeah. But two, it's also taking up the role of advocacy. We are open to having these discussions with the relevant parties, the Office of the Attorney General, the Office of the ODPP, Kenya prisons, hospital facilities that are willing to come to the table and help us sort these people out. That is part of the role that we are undertaking.
But this is more than a legal victory. This is a victory for all transgender individuals who, like Shiey, live in the shadows of society's norms. It is a call for justice, one that demands recognition, protection, and respect for gender identity.
What this case does is that it confirms what we already have in terms of the provisions of the Constitution. And it says that the state, again, as I mentioned on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that these rights are inherent for all, including transgender persons. So what it does is just it confirms that indeed transgender persons are deserving of these rights and that they cannot be taken away, and that the state has a responsibility to ensure that this right to dignity, to healthcare services, to education, to identification as well is noted, is protected.
Shiey's story is far from over, but as the legal landscape shifts, her courage ignites a flame of change. Her fight is a testament to the strength it takes to live as one's true self in a world that doesn't always understand.
Well, change means inclusion. Inclusion is very important because you don't want to be part of a society that you were born in, but that excludes you, right? Change is about saying, you know what, you're welcome, come to this party. You're welcome, come to this, you can come and do this with us. But unless that happens, then change has not really happened.
So if the state is going to protect that person who is almost invisible, who was not even envisioned at some point, the smallest of the small, if the state goes ahead to protect this person, then I can comfortably sit knowing that even I will not be violated.
So that means that a right which can be enjoyed by me should also be enjoyed by a transgender person in their status